Dr. Asidera is a graduate of BS Fisheries from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and Master of Science in Environmental Studies with minor in Resource Economics and PhD in Environmental Science with cognate in Community Development, both from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, School of Environmental Science and Management. Dr. Asidera's discussion.
Thank you, and magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. First of all, I would like to thank NAST, National Academy of Science and Technology of Philippines, and of course, DOST family for giving us the opportunity to be with you in this event and to discuss with you today the presentations under this session by two distinguished experts in the field of marine science, Dr. Annette and Dr. Malu Maclone, of whom I've seen their work and their dedication to generate scientific knowledge for the conservation, management, and development of our marine resources. So food security has been recognized not only locally but as globally as one of the world's important challenges. Considering that we are an archipelagic country, we have more waters, seas and oceans than land, then therefore marine food security is very important for us. Marine resources and fisheries contribute to livelihood, employment, and income, and this is particularly important to our coastal communities, aside from, of course, the earlier mentioned about the uses of our oceans, like transport, navigation, energy, tourism, and so on. And also, it's very important as source of food for our increasing population. We are also aware of the threats to our marine resources and environment, and just to mention a few, like overfishing, destructive fish practices, pollution, and also to add to that, climate change and ocean acidification, which could lead to ecosystems degradation, habitat and biodiversity loss, and adverse impact to our environment and to our marine environment and its resources, and therefore an impact to our food security. And therefore, in answer to that, there are now programs for the conservation of marine biodiversity, coastal resource management or integrated coastal management, responsible fisheries management approaches, restoration of degraded habitats, and also looking at approaches on holistic ways of managing our resource, like the EAFM or the ecosystem approach to fisheries management, wherein we are moving away from the fisheries management systems that focuses only on the sustainable harvest of targeted species towards systems and decision-making processes that balance environmental well-being with human and social well-being within an improved governance framework. But I will not dwell much on this, as these are the subjects of many forums that were done in the past, like the more recently Asian Fisheries and Aquatic Forum. So let me go to the mariculture subject for this afternoon. We all know that mariculturing is the farming and husbandry of marine animals and plants in the marine environments, which is an aspect of aquaculture. It is the production of marine organisms for food which represents an opportunity to provide a sustainable supplement to the marine capture fisheries. According to the Convention on Biological Diversity, aquaculture production currently exceeds freshwater capture by a factor of more than 3 and makes up almost half of the marine capture fisheries. Moreover, aquaculture production has more than doubled over the last 10 years, and this trend is continuing while traditional fishing production is declining as a result of overexploitation. The need to feed a growing global population and to address a growing demand for fish puts pressure on natural resources and challenges the sustainability of marine fisheries and mariculture aquaculture development. It also raises several issues relating to the management of fish value chains to realize the right to food of fishing communities and to make fish available for all. Attaining sustainable mariculture should include efforts to avoid the adverse effects of mariculture on the biological, ecological, and genetic diversity of marine resources. Based from the presentation on sustainable mariculture by Dr. Malu Maclone, the Philippines is indeed a country with a growing population, has increasing demands and efforts to produce food. Mariculture activities, particularly in the coastal waters of Western Pangasinan, are extensive, and they're poorly regulated mariculture activities that are mainly linked to water quality issues, where unconscious feed and waste materials dissolve in the water column and accumulate as sediments. This high level of nutrients reduces water quality, placing biodiversity and productivity of coral reefs and seagrass meadows under threat. The expansion of fish farming, eutrophic waters, and algal blooms are linked to the fish kills in Bolinao, and to the fish kills in Bolinao and Anda. And I agree with Dr. Malu that informed regulation, research management, and monitoring are the ways forward to these concerns. The presentation on sustainable invertebrate fisheries in northwest Luzon by Dr. Annette is mainly focused on the utilization of marine invertebrate resources, a source of food and livelihood, to expand options for sustainable mariculture industry while maintaining the productivity and biodiversity of these important invertebrate fishery resources. These invertebrate resources make up a considerable considerable volume of the marketable fishery resources harvested in the country, though these are not really reflected in the statistics. And the economic value and the dependence of thousands of coastal fisher folk on these resources indicate their importance. Moreover, their populations are very vulnerable to the degradation of coastal habitats, and these are overexploited. Responsible restocking and culture-based management interventions were done to help rebuild the populations of giant clams, sea urchins, and sea cucumber. The identification of ecological meaningful management units for the two species of sea cucumber found in seagrass and coral reef areas is an important effort in conserving the ecological diversity of the said species. With the best available science-based information combined with good governance based from what has been presented, Northwestern Luzon can indeed potentially become a model for the sustainable development and utilization of invertebrate resources in the country. We cannot overemphasize the importance of sustainable mariculture, but the speakers have already discussed nursery and grow out, and also application of genomic studies, molecular techniques, and population genetics, as was also described by Dr. Annette, as very important for connectivity studies and important in the management of the resources. And 5 is on new cultivable species for culture. 6 is looking at fish health, disease diagnostics, and disease management. 7 on nutritional feeds and feeding system. Some of the efforts relevant to the HNRDA supported by the DOST-Philippines card include the following. 1 is on the promotion of responsible development and management of mariculture, including an advanced evaluation of the effects of mariculture development on the genetic diversity and ecosystem integrity based on the best available scientific information. 2nd is establishment of effective procedures specific for mariculture to undertake appropriate environmental assessment and monitoring with the aim of minimizing adverse ecological changes. Next is conservation of genetic diversity and maintain integrity of aquatic communities and ecosystems by appropriate management, adoption of appropriate practices in the improvement of broodstocks, eggs, larvae, and broodstock, including production and transport, in order to minimize the risks of disease transfer and other adverse effects on wild and cultured stocks, and promotion of research, and when feasible, the development of culture techniques for endangered species to protect and enhance their stocks, taking into account critical need to conserve the genetic diversity of the endangered species. So at Picard, we would like to share with you some of the R&D projects and programs previously and currently funded by DOST-Picard that support the HNRDA and sustainable mariculture, aquaculture practices, and of aquatic resources. One of which was presented already by Dr. Menyes on the development and use of the farming technology of sea cucumber, mainly causing the wild to implement ecological restoration of the resource through restocking and serve as source of livelihood for local communities. We also have one for oysters. Yes, the use of raft and long-line methods for oyster culture, and instead of the traditional stake method to promote a sustainable and environmental friendly technology of growing the stocks and increasing the quality of oysters for food, and the use of integrated multi-trophic aquaculture or IMTA to utilize the benefits derived from using the techniques to polyculture various species of fish resources that thrives in different trophic levels in the same culture system, wherein the waste of one species becomes the nutritional inputs of other species. So what's important for us is to put science to work. The marine R&D programs and projects are designed and aimed to generate science-based information for the management of our country's marine resources. And aside from the development of products and technologies, a lot of knowledge are generated which could serve as basis for inputs for policy. So in closing, let me state that there should be a collaborative effort to secure our oceans, secure our marine resources, secure our food resources, and therefore securing our communities. Through SNT, we strive to understand ecosystems and environment, be it coral reefs, mangroves, or seagrass, or even the deep water ecosystems. So we should understand this because these are the ecosystems that produces our food, and that how we can sustainably manage them in order for our use. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Asidera. Now is the time for the open forum. And the first question here is from Dr. Murillo Rafael of NVSU. I think this is Nueva Vizcaya State U. The question is there a correlation with the costs of feeds with a 5-month grow out as compared with an 8-month grow out? Because I think that the additional 3 months to achieve the weight is also a cost to the possibility of fish kill. This is addressed to Dr. Macglon.
Sir, sino po yung nagtanong?
Dr. Murillo Rafael of NVSU.
Okay, Dr. Murillo, we haven't done actual correlation of the feed and the cost. Sorry, is the feed and
A correlation with the cost of feeds with that of a 5-month grow out compared with an 8-month grow out period.
actually all the calculations I presented are based on knowledge on the type of feed, on the cost of feed, and the surveys on how long it takes for a certain or what type of or how long it takes for a certain culture to be harvested. So I do not have exact correlations at the moment po.
Okay, the next question is addressed to either Dr. Menyes and Dr. Macglon or Dr. Macglon. Have you investigated impact of solid waste such as bulk plastics or microplastics to stock depletion or fish collapse or to fish kill?
we haven't started the study on plastics, but our colleagues at the Institute have started looking at microplastics. So it's forthcoming po.
Okay, another question for Dr. Minyes. Thanks for a very informative and excellent presentation. My observation is in all your colorful slides, studies were on the western part of the Philippines. Why in northwestern Luzon? What do you think is the situation in northeast Luzon? The question is from academician Ruben Villarreal.
Academician Villarreal and everybody. We have the Bulinaw Marine Laboratory in this region, and that is where also our hatchery is located. So for the work that I've done, a lot of it has to be based in the hatchery and an adjacent area. Yes, I know na actually sa Luzon, there's very little work in the eastern portion, and certainly that is going to be, hopefully be able to link up with some of the state colleges and universities there. Pero for now, because it's our playground, so we provide training courses, but a lot of the actual research is feasible only because we have a marine laboratory. Doing the hatchery, imagine the field monitoring. Mahirap hong gawin if you're not on site. So that's why Bulinaw is like an incubation and research site that we use to disseminate information and hopefully train other researchers in different regions.
Thank you, ma'am. Here's two suggestions from academician Rafael Guerrero III, the former director of Picamart. His suggestions are, number one, reducing, for Dr. Maclon, reducing stocking rates of milk fish in pens and cages can also improve carrying capacity. The second one is try stocking sea cucumbers under cages and in pens to reduce sediment pollution. So these are the suggestions of academician Guerrero to Dr. Maclon.
Can I respond on the second part? Thank you, Dr. Guerrero. So, everybody always think about the sea cucumbers like a janitor fish that will clean up everything. But as Malu showed, the area where you have the fish cages is already anoxic. Sir, walang nabubuhay, miski ilagay. But what we have tried now, and we just have a paper coming out from aquaculture, is that you look at the adjacent area, hindi mismo dun sa highly impacted area, pero in the adjacent area. So we had a pilot trial and we found that if you release the small juveniles, mamamatay lang sila because it's highly organic. But then, so when we started growing the animals to at least 50 to 60 grams, and yun ang in-stock sa pen, experimental pen, in adjacent, pero hindi dun sa ilalim mismo, the growth was 3 times faster. So there is the opportunity of capturing some of the nutrients to diversify production and to convert some of that to biomass. Ang problema lang, sir, sobra yung pollution na that putting, I don't know, even if I put tons and tons of sea cucumbers, hindi siya malilinis. But we are trying to diversify and looking at those options sa peripheral portion po.
Sir, is there a follow-up on that? None. Okay.
Sir, that's a very good suggestion. No? Unfortunately, wala kami masyadong control on how much they stock. Yeah, they want very intensive fish production. So it's really a political will thing again.
I I'd like to ask questions, but I'm cautioned that that's the last question. Anyway, I'll try to talk with you after this one. Mga Tres Marias, have you noticed? Their names have a name in common. Maria Antoinette, Maria Lourdes, and Marie Ann. Thank you very much. And we will now proceed to the awarding of certificates and tokens of appreciation. May I call on stage DOST-Philippines Vice President Academician Fabian Dairit and Regional Director Armando Canal. Let me read the citation. Republic of the Philippines, National Academy of Science and Technology and Department of Science and Technology Luzon Cluster present this certificate of appreciation to our speakers. Luzon Regional Scientific Meeting, April 24 to 25, 2019, Don Leopoldo Season Convention Center, Alaminos, Pangasinan. Signed, Fabian Dairit, Vice President, DOST-Philippines, Armando Ganal, Regional Director, DOST-1. May I call on Dr. Marie Antoinette Wenyo Menyes. Also to Dr. Maria Lourdes San Diego Macglon. And to Dr. Marian Asidera, our discussant. Ay, sorry. Ma'am Asidera, Dr. Asidera. May I call all our resource speakers and also the rapporteur to have photo documentation. Pita, please. There was a slight change in our program due to the appointment or an equally important activity. Our colleague, Regional Director Dr. Josefina Abilay of DOST-4B will not be available tomorrow for the turnover ceremony.